Right, call this special call meeting to order for the primary purpose of Elevate Black Mountain. And, but I did have a matter that I asked to be added to the agenda, and it was posted. And that is a letter of, oh, it's on the back side of your agenda, a letter of support for the Gowan School of Nursing. And this came to my attention because I serve on the Mission Hospital Board, but there's just such a shortage of nurses that they just can't find them. And so just trying to train more, and they've communicated with all the nursing schools in the area, and they need, the approval. There's a regulatory process they have to go through to form a nursing school. And so that's what this letter is about. And I'll just read the first paragraph for the purposes of any of the public listening in or watching. The Town Council of Black Mountain, North Carolina is pleased to ask our mayor to offer this letter of support for the opening of the Gowan College of Nursing program at Mission Hospital. We are experiencing a significant shortage of nurses, which impacts our access to care. A new nursing program will bring compassionate and competent nurses that our community residents deserve. Mission Hospital is ready to support the needs of these Gowan students with healthcare clinical experiences and employment during and after graduation. Leadership has connected with all 13 nursing schools in Western North Carolina that we partner with to assure them that we will continue to provide clinical rotation opportunities for their students at Mission, even with the addition of our own nursing school. The pandemic has intensified the demand for nurses due to early retirements and the increased need for healthcare services. It is time to build our local supply of registered nurses, and Gowan College of Nursing has the expertise to bring Asheville, Black Mountain, and our surrounding communities the nurses we so desperately need. The Black Mountain Town Council understands that the supply of nurses in our community is not meeting our demand. Gowan College of Nursing would help us rebalance the regional workforce. Thank you for your consideration, and please reach out to me if you have questions. So I just entertain a motion for approval to support the council.
So moved.
Thank you, Ryan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, I appreciate that, council. And so we are then off to our comprehensive plan, Elevate Black Mountain. And I understand we're gonna have
Yes, Nate is going to be zooming in and sharing a screen with everybody. But I'll just kind of, while he's trying to get on, I'll talk for just a minute about it. So our previous comprehensive plan was, I guess the update we had done was back in 2014. So it's been a number of years. This one we started before the pandemic. So you can imagine how, that was a little bit difficult to work through just with participation, but we've gotten a lot of public participation, a lot of comments. We did have some public meetings before the pandemic, if some of you recall that.
had some during it.
Had some during it, and it's been posted on the website numerous times for comments, and I think we've done a good job of getting public comments on the comprehensive plan. So hopefully Nate is going to be ready soon to start to go through this update of our comprehensive plan for 2021, Elevate Black Mountain.
So while we're waiting, Amy, or Ron, any comments on the library situation?
Not really. Pam knows more than I do at this point. Library boards are trying, and there's various possible meetings. One is a joint meeting with the council in Swannanoa that owns the Swannanoa Library, meet with their staff, bringing the friends, just trying to put together a sort of a united front, get all of our points together. Everybody has a handful of different thoughts on why we need the library. We'd like to see those in one bag and go to the commission. Pam probably report better on how the city or the county reacted to the proposal this week. I didn't get a chance to watch that.
Yeah, I was pleased to see their positive comments about Black Mountain Library's, about our concern to have it remain here. it was clear that many residents of Black Mountain have reached out to the county commissioners and expressed their opinion. And it definitely felt like the county commissioners were open to a discussion about how that might work.
Good.
I can also say I'm just so pleased that it's really nice to see the community working together so closely, the Chamber of Commerce and the Friends of the Black Mountain Library and some other groups are just really coordinating their efforts and working together. And I think they're making a big difference in helping the public know what the issue is and what both sides of the concerns are really, but encouraging the public to reach out to the county commissioners and let them know how they feel about this matter. So the next meeting that we need to know about is June 15th at the county commission meeting. So stay tuned for detail about that, but I think you'll want to at least view it. I don't know if they'll have in person yet, but they'll be revisiting this issue on June 15th.
Right, thank you. Thank you.
All right, so Nate is on and ready, and we'll let him take us away.
You can't do this without having technical.
No.
difficulties.
Sorry. It's just how it
You could run
goes.
through it 20 times and still, the 21st time it wouldn't work. Can you chat with him? Can you send him a message?
Maybe give him a call and then
Nate, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, there you go. Go ahead.
Okay. You can hear me now?
Yes.
Are you able to hear me?
We
Yes.
can.
Okay, excellent. Good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Nate Baker. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here to talk with you all about the Elevate Black Mountain Comprehensive Plan. It's been almost 2 years in the making. It's been lots of work on the part of your staff and on the part of members of the Black Mountain community and the business community, and so many people just committing their time to getting involved and developing a better future for Black Mountain. So I am representing Clarion Associates. Clarion has offices in Chapel Hill and in Denver. They do comprehensive plans for communities as well as zoning ordinances and zoning regulations. I was also joined on this project with Chipley Consulting, with Celie Chipley with Chipley Consulting, who is out of Asheville. And she took the lead on some of the public engagement efforts. So she was out in the community having conversations, and we were working together on that. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in, and let me know if there are any issues with slides or anything. So today what I want to talk about is providing a little bit of background about what exactly Elevate Black Mountain is, what we heard through the community engagement efforts, provide an overview of the plan chapters, provide a few recent updates, and then provide space for questions and discussion. So first of all, the question you might be wondering is what exactly is a comprehensive plan? Of course, you already have one. You have one from the 2014 comprehensive plan update, but it's the highest level expression of a community's future. So it's a community process to envision the future, It's used as a guide and as a blueprint for the town when making proactive decisions about what you all want to do in terms of spending tax dollars, making capital investments, initiating new programs. And it's also a compass. So that's where the policy comes in. So what if someone comes in and they're proposing some sort of development or some sort of change in land use? Well, this really provides a compass to help guide some of the land development decisions. So you're not just left sort of on your own trying to make a decision amongst yourselves. There's this important cohesive document that helps you do that. And it's really answering the three key questions, which is, one, where are we as a community? And that was a big topic of conversation, the changing aspects of Black Mountain. Two, where are we going? What do we want to be in the future as a community? And then finally, what do we actually do? How do we get there? What kind of actions do we need to take? What kind of policies do we need to have in order to achieve that? And so this process really built on some of the policies and concepts of the current comprehensive plan, but it really started new and started fresh. So one of the questions, of course, is why now? And the reason is, and of course, this began in 2019, late 2019. And even at that time, there was significant development pressure facing Black Mountain. That's not a secret to anyone who has been around the community. The existing conditions of Black Mountain have changed for a variety of reasons, local reasons, regional reasons, national and global reasons. And also the best practices for good, sustainable, inclusive planning have evolved, and our understanding of good practice has changed. And then finally, it's just good practice to update comprehensive plans from time to time, 5, 6, 7 years, and provide a new opportunity for all the residents in the community to come together and have these types of in-depth and robust conversations and create a unified plan and vision for the future. So this process began with phase one, research and analysis, and it began in late 2019 with kickoff project management, where we assessed existing conditions. We came into town for multiple days and we met with a variety of different community stakeholders. So we met with environmental advocates and business leaders and town department heads. We met with church leaders and others in the community and had some robust conversations about what was going on in Black Mountain and understanding from various different perspectives the existing conditions in Black Mountain. That helped lead us into phase two. And this was phase two is heavy on the community engagement. So this is where we held the workshops for our future, which I'll talk about in just a moment, as well as the action for our future. And these are two really important touch points. It also included developing the plan outline. And so this phase two started in January and lasted through September. It was extended because of the public health crisis. And that led us into finally phase three, where we actually crafted the plan and prepared the plan policy framework, developed the future land use map. And then that ended with the unveiling and testing of the plan with residents, which I'll get into later into the presentation. And then finally, we're currently in phase four, which is the final comprehensive plan, land use map, and the public hearings. But what's important to know about this plan is it's not a strategic plan, which is sort of owned by the elected officials. This is a citizen-driven plan, and resident input really forms the foundation of both the process and of the plan document itself. So the language that's in the plan is intended to be in the voice of community members. So what did we hear through the process? We held these two really important public engagement touch points, the workshops for our future and action for our future. And one thing I want to note is that there was a philosophy behind the public engagement. And that philosophy was that the engagement process for Elevate Black Mountain should be accessible by all members of the Black Mountain community. And the reason why that's an important philosophy is because you have such disparate conditions for people living in Black Mountain, from very wealthy people or retired people or young people or people who have multiple jobs. Everyone is in a different situation, and our philosophy was that we need to do as much as we can to conduct outreach and get people to be comfortable providing input in whatever format they're comfortable in, whether it's in person or digital, so that we can get a broad array of voices to be heard in this process. And so we started in January of 2020 with a workshop for our future. The workshop had large in-person events at the Church of God in January and Meadowbrook Free Will Baptist in February. It had an online survey. It had a paper survey. It had email options so that people could just shoot an email if they had comments or ideas. And then there were also planner office hours where Jessica and Jennifer made themselves available at certain hours throughout the week to anyone who wanted to come in and sit down and talk about the future of Black Mountain. And this is part of the plan where we're at the initial stage, and so we're really asking some big questions of people. We're asking, what are the challenges and opportunities in Black Mountain? What do you love? What do you love about Black? Why are you here? Why is this your community? But we also ask, what do you want to change? What would you like to change? What are the things that you would like to keep the same and protect in Black Mountain? What is your vision for the future of Black Mountain? We had multiple exercises, and then we also had brainstorming boards so that people could provide ideas for what they'd like to see change in Black Mountain. Here's one example of one of the boards that we use. How do you get around? This is in the middle of the slide. How do you get around in Black Mountain? And we ask, so how, with the green stickers, how do you get around to different places from your home? How do you get around to different places today? How do you get to work, shopping and groceries, schools, parks and trails? And you can see that with the green sticker, a lot of people drive, a number of people walk. And then we ask the question, well, how would you prefer to be able to get there? If you could choose any option, how would you prefer to be able to get there? And a lot of people chose walking and biking, and some folks even chose the bus for getting to work and shopping and groceries. And what it sort of showed was, there's this difference in the way people are currently spending their time traveling around and the choices and options that they would like to have available to them. There were mapping exercises, and people could identify various places where they thought there were challenges and opportunities in Black Mountain. So all of that work went into, was synthesized. All the data that was provided, the data points was synthesized. There were themes that were developed. We did some exercises to cluster the different topic areas that people chose to focus on. And we came out of that drafting vision statements and goals. And so what we did in the next round of community engagement, in the next touch point, was the action for our future, went out and asked, okay, we drafted, based on this input that you provided, we drafted this vision, we drafted these goals. Do you support this? Did we do a good job of actually crafting this in your voice and with your values? And as you can see, so we asked, do you support in green? Do you not support in blue? Do you support, but you'd like to see some changes in yellow? And you can see that I think that we did a fairly good job, and we did end up going back and making certain changes that some people requested. We also, of course, this is after we felt the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. We held several virtual meetings where we had breakout conversations, in-depth conversations. Jessica and Jennifer brought the whole staff out so that we could have these conversations. And we kept notes, thorough notes from those discussions. and that helped inform the next process. And so the next question that we asked people was, how do we actually achieve these goals? And so I'll get a little into that. So at the end of the day, we came out with several hundred folks providing input during these sessions, and even made it into the front page of the Citizen Times. Some of the themes that came out of this was protecting open space, protecting, enhancing, and replicating Black Mountain's cherished downtown pattern, addressing housing affordability and the cost of living, investing in parks and community spaces, expanding safe local and regional transportation options, supporting local businesses, and bolstering opportunities for citizen involvement. Things that I'm sure that you all hear on a regular basis. So now I just want to provide a quick overview of the comprehensive plan chapters. I'm sure that you all will want to spend your own time getting in and reading and getting into the weeds into these chapters, but I just want to do a quick overview. First of all, the principles behind developing the plan document were to link the public input directly to the plan language. We also wanted to create a readable and high level and illustrative and really just an accessible plan document that anyone can open up and understand, but at the same time is providing good policy direction. And then we wanted to create a plan organization that aligned with the key policy direction topics as determined through the community engagement. And so what we came out with were 5 different topic areas: walkable and livable, green and resilient, vibrant economy, connected and accessible, and civic engagement. The plan structure is built around this pyramid of a vision, which is answering the question, what is the ideal future of Black Mountain? There are a number of goals that fall underneath the vision, which is really answering the question, what actually needs to be achieved? What are we trying to achieve in order to get to that vision? And then to achieve the goals, there are the nitty-gritty policies and actions, which is really answering how will the town achieve the goals of the vision. So here's the contents page, which includes each of these topic areas, as well as the introduction and implementation matrix. So the introduction includes several subsections, includes the motivation for planning, why plan, why now. It includes some of the key planning trends and conditions. It talks about planning Black Mountain's future. It includes the community's vision, how to use the plan document, which you can see on the right, which just helps to make the document more accessible. And then it also includes some of the big ideas that came out of this process. So here's chapter 1. This is the future land use section. This section is the nitty-gritty of future land use in Black Mountain. So it provides details of the different roles of the future land use map versus the zoning map. So that's really important to distinguish those two things. For example, the future land use map sort of displays broad categories of land uses, whereas the zoning map describes the zoning districts that are actually applied with legal teeth onto the ground. And it includes the future land use map and the future land use map areas, which you can see here. So on the left-hand side, the future land use map broken out between activity and employment areas, neighborhoods, primarily residential neighborhoods, and then various boundaries. So each of the colors on the future land use map corresponds with additional pages in the plan document, which have a description of the area, identify opportunities, include high-level primary and secondary uses, and then some sort of desired characteristics of those areas from an urban form and design standpoint. The next chapter is walkable and livable. And walkable and livable includes 6 goals for diverse and affordable housing in neighborhoods, walkable character, celebration of the arts, and healthy and active environments. It also includes 8 development principles to help guide a new development along with the future land use map and future land use map categories. It provides some utility service and annexation criteria, which helps guide some growth management decisions, and it's a tool to use for growth management in the future. And then it includes the opportunities map, and that identifies potential growth areas and key planning areas. And throughout the document, there are ideas that are thrown out that are not necessarily tied specifically to policies or actions, but are ideas that come from various other communities in the state and around the country. So you might find something about active transportation, or how to create pedestrian-friendly design, or what are some of the regulatory options that are available as a tool. And so there are a few different pages in the plan with some ideas and opportunities. So the chapter 3 is green and resilient. It includes 5 goals: efficient and fiscally balanced growth, conserved green spaces and corridors, sustainable and resilient watershed, energy efficient buildings and transportation, and active and accessible public spaces. Chapter 4 is vibrant economy, which includes 6 goals: strong and diversified economy, a competitive workforce, a renowned outdoor tourism destination, innovation through arts, culture, and creativity, thriving manufacturing, including small scale manufacturing, and a connected food economy with access to local foods. Chapter 5 is civic engagement, which includes equitable engagement opportunities for residents, high quality parks and public spaces, excellent public services and facilities, and then connected and accessible. This is the transportation chapter. This has 5 goals for multiple safe transportation mode options, non-automotive transportation network, right size, well-located parking, enhanced and user-friendly transit network, and well-planned freight corridors. And then finally, the last chapter is the implementation matrix. And the implementation matrix is the actions. So this is where we have 3 to 6 proactive strategies under each topic area. A lot of these strategies actually came directly from the ideas that were provided by community members, as well as discussions with department heads and other stakeholders in the community. It identifies the responsible department, or sort of the head department or lead department on actions, general time horizon, status. So it's a dynamic aspect of the plan, and a part of the plan that can be used as a tool and changed over time, and a way of sort of measuring progress on the plan. And then it identifies priorities, so high, medium, low, and that can be updated over time. And finally, I just want to mention some of the latest updates from the last several weeks. So we've received comments through the online survey and emails on the draft public review plan document. And generally, the comments included fell under these items that you can see here. Overall, we felt that there was support for the plan, a good amount of support for the plan. Obviously, people have differing opinions, but overall, that was what we heard from the community. Some of the comments included addressing stormwater management, managing new growth, making sure that was a priority of the plan and of implementation of the plan, making Black Mountain more walkable and less car-centric, the fact that there is a lack of affordable housing options, and that's a sort of a concerning need that needs to be addressed. Green space and sustainability, making sure downtown continues to be vibrant and continues to be a unique place in the region. And then making sure that there is community space in the future. This is the last slide. So just some recent updates. The community provided input on the plan document. As I mentioned, generally supportive of the plan, and we did hear quite a few comments about wanting to see implementation just begin already, and getting started on that. There were some edits that were incorporated based on some of the community input that was provided into the public draft. The planning board also provided some input and then recommended approval. So with that, I would be happy to listen to and answer any questions, and also feel free to just have discussion amongst yourselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And Jessica or Josh, do you have anything you'd like to add to that, to the presentation?
I just want to thank everybody for participating in this long process and dealing with the flexible conditions that we had to get very creative on the fly to make sure that we brought a document that really did represent the community in a time when that was hard. And for Nate and Celie's hard work in pulling this all together. A comprehensive plan is a really unique document. It's one of the more creative spaces we have to represent more high-level ideas and not quite down in the weeds like we often are when we are dealing with individual applications. It is intended to be a guiding document to help give you information for decisions. It is not a policy-making document. So I hope that it can be good food for thought and represent the community and some best practices that, you know, are always evolving. And encourage you to, you know, ask me questions and ask Nate too.
Sure. Well, I do have one question, and that is on page 37 regarding annexation.
Mhm.
And I understand that we do have a policy. Although, Josh, did you find that?
I do, I have it.
And it's, can you just give a reference?
I read it, yeah.
Yeah, just go ahead and read it.
So this is in our town code of ordinances about extensions to mains and services really related to water. But water service outside of corporate limits of town, the second section of this specifically states any developer or property owner wishing to make application for water service to property that is contiguous to the corporate limits of town, excluding single-family residences under subsection D1, must petition for voluntary annexation into the town limits before being considered for water service. Town has the option to reject or accept the annexation petition based on what's in the best interest of the town. If rejected for annexation by the town, the developer or property owner may request service under the terms outlined for non-contiguous property.
So, so that does not, it says it does not apply to a single family resident.
Right.
It's a development.
Correct.
And so, Ron, did we talk about this in the past few weeks? And are you comfortable with that? Can we do that? Can the town do
Always,
that?
but we can do that. Obviously, there's been no real pushback because there's no legal basis for pushing back. The school and government agrees that we have that ability. It's our service to offer. We're not compelled to provide service outside of our boundaries, so we have the ability to ask that they petition to be annexed. And clearly, we can say, we really don't want you, but we'll sell you water anyway, but they do have to make the request to get water.
You know, for infrastructure, which the town benefits from as well. It's not in the city limits. Some of it is and some of it isn't.
That's correct.
And so does this ordinance apply? It's not a development, it's a business park.
But nonetheless, it's a property other than a single-family dwelling.
Uh-huh.
The question was raised over the last few weeks, and now keep in mind that I wasn't party to those negotiations with the bottom, and for an obvious reason, that's something to be done in closed meetings.
Right.
It was mostly run by the county. We were sort of hangers-on to that transaction. And so it was asked, well, was part of the agreement that we not ask them to be annexed when we provide water? So far, nobody's provided me with a full agreement, but I can find nobody who's aware of such agreement by any party that we would provide water to Avada without requesting they be annexed.
I don't think it was, it's my understanding, I wasn't party to, you know, to any of the negotiations either, just as you said, they were EDC and it was, you know, there was closed meetings. But I don't think it was, it's my understanding, and I don't know this for certain, that it was not addressed. I have had, Josh and I had a meeting with the owners, and I don't think they're sole owners, but the management of the business park and the CEO of Avada, Pittelman, and asked them, and we were prompted to by the county planning director, Nate Penland. Pennington. I always want to call him Penland. Anyway, Nate Pennington. And because their building permit expired and needed to be re-upped. And so it was like, they thought it was a good time to ask. And Josh and I did that, just that simple. You know, we said, mentioned it and told them, asked them if they wanted to come in. And it was sort of our gut feeling that they didn't want to. They have not gotten back to us. And so, it's also, so we have asked and it's my perspective that I don't feel very compelled to want to force them to be in the city limits. We benefit from them very much being there. And the negotiations did not include that. And we benefited greatly from the project and will. And so, and I'm not sure that, I'm not sure that I don't know. I mean, what do we, I would like to think that find a way that we can either amend our ordinance, if it applies. In other words, if we've got this ordinance and it says that that's what's supposed to happen, and you think it does apply to the business part, then it does, and that's what it says. And council, it has to be council that decides this. But it seems a little bit of a stretch to me to require them to come into the city limits.
And we don't,
In order to get-
require them to apply, we can turn them down. Still provide water.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
And I think if I
that's
could,
how council would deal with it.
That's a
Say,
way,
no, it's fine, we appreciate you applying, that's a requirement, and we don't need you to come into the city limits.
but I'm still chasing that rabbit. I want to see the agreement because a few years ago, the talk was that was part of the deal, that we would not annex them, as part of this project. And
I
again,
haven't heard that.
and that was rumor 5 years ago, but nothing ever materialized. I would like to see the agreement before I just don't have much more to say until I've seen the agreement.
Right.
Yeah,
Is that a EDC document?
it could be,
I think it is, isn't it?
Probably so.
it could be. Yeah, because at this point, there's nothing out there that has requested water service. So,
Right.
we wouldn't have had, and I think that instance that you were just mentioning, I think was just kind of hey, their conditional use permit's expiring. Maybe this is a good time to ask them to come in.
Yeah, that was Nate's document.
That's right. But as far as asking what I just read, and I think what some of this comprehensive plan talks about, nobody out there has asked for water service yet, so we haven't really even got to that discussion. Now, that discussion probably should have been had a long time ago, but that's neither here nor there at this point.
Right. Well, I think that's probably just something let's get the document, and actually, Erica may be able to provide that for us. Brandon Scott, she managed the grant, both grants for us.
We'll ask again.
Yeah, do we ever ask Erica?
Well, I did, and I don't think that she ever got back to me, but
Yeah,
I'll follow up.
it's public document at this point. I think. But-
We're party to it. It should be a public document.
Yeah, that's right. So, we could just process that over the coming weeks. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
a rush.
That doesn't look like, until they get back online to build, there seems to be no big rush.
That's right. That's exactly right. So good. But that was my only comment. One was that, just how we deal with that. Is the ordinance a wise one to have? And just to point that out, point this particular situation out, and other ones might come up. And I think that's a good way to go about it. And once we find out the details of a little bit more of not only the agreement, we may want to consider some slight changes in that, just so that there's a little different mechanism than requiring an application.
You have to be very careful not to throw out the baby with the bathwater.
That's right. That's exactly right, because it has some good benefits to it.
It's about the only
Only
tool,
way.
it's about the only tool you have to encourage annexation anymore.
That's right. That's right.
And you still have the
Exactly right.
opportunity to deny it. I mean, and I think that's part of the goal of the comprehensive plan annexation criteria is to evaluate capacity of service. Is this worth all of the capacity and burden it puts on a town to provide those required services?
Right.
It also identifies areas of potential growth where we're seeing particular patterns and areas where we would want to be more interested in expanding particularly around economic development through the 70 corridor on the western
Right.
side of town.
Right. That's right. Council, any questions on the comprehensive plans or comment?
Of course I have one.
Go for
So I just wanted to first say, it's obvious you've done a ton of work and it's really paid off. I'm excited about this plan. A lot of pieces in here, maybe all of them, that I'd like to get to work on tomorrow. Let's just do it all tomorrow, right? And I can't help but notice that in these actions, there are a lot of actions and they're all great by and large, but you know, the priority on almost all of them is high. So it gets a little tricky, doesn't it? I mean, if everything's a high priority, how do you decide what to do first and how do you rank them and get them going? And also, I can't help but think, it's my observation that our staff is maxed out. And I would really hate for this to just become a fun thing we did and then it gets stuck on a shelf and, you know, day-to-day priorities, of course, take a priority and then we never quite get to doing this stuff. So I'm just planting a seed and saying it out loud that I don't think we can make the progress we want to make with this unless at some point we talk about more staff. And, you know, like a long-term plan around this. If there's some things in here that are 10 years out, but we need to be talking about what kind of staff does it take to do these things? Because I can't see putting a whole lot more on our current staff. And they're a hard-working bunch, but, you know, they can't do everything that this plan includes. So I'll just throw that out there. And one other question that's really nitpicky, because on page 33, for example, can you tell me what impervious means? I mean, I know what, is that the right word here? Do we want impervious parking?
Well, pervious parking.
Yeah,
One
well, it says
infiltrate.
impervious all through here. Oh,
Thank you.
So I'm just.
Should say pervious pavement.
Right, should say pervious.
Yeah,
When-
there's several places in
Good
here
catch.
that's
Good
about
catch.
pervious, impervious, but I don't think we really want to
No,
promote
we
that.
don't want that.
When the opportunity presents itself, we would prefer the water go through.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Gotta watch spell check.
We're trying- we're
Pervious
trying to
is
go
not a
backwards.
commonly used word.
Yeah, well, maybe it is even a word, I
The
don't
paving
know.
contractor may have backed it, offering input.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for that.
So, but by and large, I mean, these are the, I think that residents clearly spoke and a lot of them participated and I think this can be a wonderful tool for us going forward every time there's new decisions to be made, not just this council, but on into the future. You know, how does that fit in with our comprehensive plan? That should be the question all the time. I guess a little different than a strategic plan, but I have been involved in organizations where they put a lot of effort into a new strategic plan and then it just gets on the shelf and never sees the light of day again. And I hate to see that happen with this document.
Well, and two, I'll just point out that you have your comprehensive plan, you can think about that like an umbrella and, or a roof, and underneath you have these other pieces. We have our Greenway Master Plan, we have parking and circulation planning documents. So we do get more granular on some of these levels, and they all really support each other. And it is not a document that is intended to gather dust. We are really compelled by our statutes more than ever to utilize these documents and then be more actionable. If you compare just the actual document to the previous document, and this is a trend across comprehensive planning and plan writing in general, it is more concise. It is not chapters. It sort of leaves the like dissertation type writing behind and summarizes it up front. Here are your demographics. Here's your current state of affairs. And here are some actionable items. And it's not lost in theory in the way that it used to be. It is intended, as Nate was describing, to be able to look at it and say, well, this makes sense. I can tie this together. And these are things we know how to do these things, and tries to put them in an order that builds.
In the machinations of government, the comprehensive plan is also, it's important for obtaining funds, isn't it?
Yes, often when you're applying for particular types of grants, they will ask for a copy of comprehensive plan to prove what you're asking for, is demonstrated by the community.
That's right.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, and I brought this up at the town board meeting, my legislative review, back up one notch. Right now, not only is the comprehensive plan a good idea, it's mandatory. So you've got to have one. Second is, if a town doesn't have a comprehensive plan, it doesn't get to have zoning, subdivision control. And there's House Bill 821, which is out there that says that in the event we take some action and it's not in conformity with our comprehensive plan and some citizen sues it over and wins, we pay as attorney's fees. It's not even discretionary. We will pay as attorney's fees. So it becomes a document you got to pay more attention to. So from my end, it was really nice to see a more concise document than our old comprehensive plan which is more, theoretical, and this one's a more operative plan. So that's going to help when it comes back down to my office because somebody's going to sue us because we didn't follow our plan. At least you can more clearly tell whether we followed the plan, and we don't end up in front of a judge talking about ethereal arguments on whether or not we comply.
Right. It sort of strikes me that it would not be a bad idea for us to, for council to, on some occasion, each year, revisit the plan, see if there's anything that you want to address. And if not, it would be helpful just to review it. So that when the update time comes again in 5 years, is it right now by statute it needs to be done 5 years?
It's best
It's
Yeah, that's sort of best practice
Best
recommended at school.
But in particular with Mr. Sneed's comments, it's probably a good thing for council to look, and if there's something that needs to be tightened up or something that needs to be changed, just to take a look at it annually.
Absolutely. The trends in reviewing have actually been more condensed over the last few years. It used to be you were looking at comprehensive plans on 10 and 20-year horizons because the changing conditions were much slower than they are right now.
Right.
So I think that legislation makes it pertinent to stay on top of it and be aware of it.
Right.
If House Bill 821 becomes law, then the legislature's going to go back and clean up the rest of their statutes because a couple of things out there. One is, the law is that when you pass the zoning ordinance, you have to find compliance with the comprehensive plan. And in the event your change doesn't comply, well, you just simply say, we just amended our comprehensive plan. And the second is that when you have your make a zoning decision, you got to find compliance with the comprehensive plan. And once you've made that decision, that cannot be reviewed by a judge. Obviously, that contradicts 821. So we'll see where the legislature goes with the hodgepodge they're creating.
Great, thank you. Any comments? Any other comments or questions?
I have one more. Jessica Orney, are there any themes in this plan that stand out to you as different from the previous version that maybe reflect how the community's changed?
It's a good question. I think that these themes are very common in comprehensive planning. I think these are often needs and desires communities express. I think these might be a slightly higher level and consolidating. One of my bigger concerns about the previous version of the comprehensive plan is that it got a little too down in the weeds and became a little bit more like a work order as opposed to a position, a philosophy, and a recommendation. So I think that maybe you will see fewer bullet points, but I think that they are more, they represent some more of those ideas.
Anyone else? Then, if not, I'd entertain a motion that we accept and approve the Elevate Black Mountain
You're gonna have,
comprehensive plan.
this was a kind of an
Oh, it's a public
informational question and
Yeah.
answer for council and mayor. The public hearing will be at June
Public
14th.
hearing's June. Yeah,
Yes.
good deal. Well, is there anything else? Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everybody involved in this lot of work. And I would like to suggest this, as a matter of fact, I'll just ask. Go ahead and put on the calendar that we hold a special call meeting. Just do it a year from now. This is the third Wednesday?
It is.
Thursday.
Thursday.
I got days messed up all week. So just make it the third Thursday in June. Special call meeting. just get it on the calendar.
Let me ask or make a suggestion and see how y'all feel about this. What if you do this earlier in the year, maybe January
Get away from budget time.
time? If you do it in January, what I'm thinking is that maybe there's something that comes out here you want to see change, you can budget for it.
Excellent, sounds
Yes.
good. Let's just plan.
That'd give us
on it.
a,
Why don't
6
you
months.
just put it on, put it on the calendar for, January 2 or whatever, that day we come back to work, and we'll get it on the calendar in January.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I think that's good also, because when new, council members, inevitably someday there are gonna be new council members, and when they get elected, that will be the beginning of their term, and they can get a real good overview of the plan when they start.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, I think we've accomplished what we came here for, so, everybody have a great day and meeting adjourned.